And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. And in the studio with us today for the first 15 minutes of our... Elliot Richardson, he's been on the program before. Elliot is the head of the Small Business Advocacy Council here in Chicago.
That's right.
Yeah, what's your official title?
I'm the CEO.
Okay, CEO.
CEO, not Big Cheese, CEO.
Okay, close enough. And the website is sbacil.org, as in Small Business Advocacy Council, Illinois, right? ORG.
You got it.
Okay. There's a couple of issues that small businesses in Illinois and I think all across the country are dealing with. And you know, we've talked before, what you're doing here in Illinois, people all around the country should be doing, small businesses and, getting together. The edge tax credits. What the heck is an edge tax?
Well, we've got a very unfortunate phenomenon going on right now throughout the country, where folks in different states are trying to lure businesses from one state to the other by offering some very, very large tax incentives. So, small business owners don't ask for anything. We're not asking for a handout. All we want is a level playing field. And what you see in Illinois, at least, is in 2011, $161 million was given out in tax credits, primarily to large businesses who threatened to leave the state.
I've run a bunch of small businesses in my life, and I've never had a government come to me and say, "I'll give you money to stay here."
That makes two of us, Tom. Yeah. And whether or not it's good economic policy, I guess that could be debated. The problem is, there's no transparency. There's never been any studies that show whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze for giving very
it's competition. At a national level, it's obviously not, because you're just moving from one state to another. And in fact, if you're moving to a lower wage state, you're causing less economic activity in the country, because wages are what create demand, which is what drives an economy. Senator Sanders on this program a year or so ago suggested that what we should do is any state that within that state, any state, county, or municipal government that offers these kind of tax breaks to corporations to move into that state, or that anything like that, should lose their federal highway funds.
I think something should be done. I mean, ultimately, we need a level playing field. And what you're saying is basically, you're 100% right. States come together, they form a circular firing squad, and the only people that really benefit are large corporations who demand these tax credits. Meanwhile, in Illinois, our income taxes went up 66%. So while that's going on, and you see $160 million in edge tax credits being given out to large companies
in 1 year.
In 1 year, you have to ask, is that good economic policy? And what's even more stunning now is there are corporations in Illinois who aren't paying taxes, so they can't take advantage of the edge tax credit. So they're actually going to the Illinois legislature and they're saying, listen, we want a tax break. We don't pay taxes. So here's what we want. We want our employees to pay their state income taxes. But instead of passing that on to the state, we're going to keep that. We're going to keep those taxes. It's paying taxes to your boss, essentially.
So this is a pretty slick trick if you could pull it off. So I'm a small businessman. We have about a dozen employees altogether in aggregate, and all of them have. Well, we have a payroll service that does the payroll, and they deduct state taxes for all these folks. And you're saying that if I was GE or Boeing or Sears or whatever, I don't know the names of the companies, but if I was some big company, I could just go to the state and say, I don't want to give that money to you. I want to keep that money that's been deducted from my employees' paychecks. Is that really what you're saying?
There are 3 or 4 companies in Illinois looking to do that right now. Yeah. They're saying, listen, we can't take advantage of the regular tax breaks, so let's supersize the tax breaks.
Otherwise, we'll leave the state. We'll move
leave
to
the state.
A right to work for less state.
Absolutely. And you know what? I mean, we had Governor Perry from the state of Texas come into our state last year and put out a press release. And I've got the press release, and it makes me ill every time I look at it. It said things like, congratulations to Illinois businesses who have managed to weather the storm in Illinois. Now come to Texas, where you can truly thrive. So, it's not the United States of Texas. It's the United States of America.
Right.
And we cannot be chopping each other off at the knees, trying to lure businesses from one state to another, from one city to another.
Yeah, this is just wrong. Well, it's also Rick Perry running for president.
Well, whatever it is, in Kansas and Missouri, I understand they've made a pact. where they said, we're not going to do this to each other anymore. We're not going to be held.
Yeah, but Kansas and Missouri are not two states that it's not. Typically what's happening is this is happening in places like Seattle. Boeing played this game with Washington State. In fact, they're doing it right now with the mechanics.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, we'll move to South Carolina.
Right.
And typically is industrial states, high wage states versus the old South. Or not versus, but versus, because these states in the South are saying, come on down, we'll give you free, not just tax breaks, they're giving them free land.
Yep.
They're giving them 10-year tax abatements. They're offering to subsidize their employees if they're low wage employees. Now we've discovered that a Walmart costs the local community $1 million just in what we're paying for the food stamps and various benefits for their employees so that they can survive. It's Medicaid and things like that. It's insane.
But what we could do as a community, as a small business community, is we could demand better. I mean, there's. You always hear small business is the backbone of the economy. We hear it all the time. We could come together and we could say, listen, that is not true economic development. If you're going to give tax breaks, give them to everybody, or put that money into infrastructure, or put that money into real economic stimulus,
right,
like education, like trade schools. But, that's what we're trying to do here in Illinois. We're trying to bring business owners together and say, let's have some sound, real good economic policies.
We had in the last hour a caller called up and asked Senator Sanders, why do you think that these big companies don't care that they're destroying the American middle class? And he said, because they don't give a damn. I think that's a verbatim phrase.
Well,
He said that they now have an international market. So there's 300 million people in the Chinese middle class now. It was 30 years ago, but there's 300 million of them now.
They also have a conflict of interest. I mean, they've got shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
And they have loyalty to their community. I'd like to see that loyalty to the community, the loyalty to the small business community that trickles down to your local communities, to your families.
Hey, your small businesses do, but the big businesses don't. They don't give a damn.
Well,
they just these are transnational corporations now, and they're General Electric last year did more business outside the United States than inside the United States. You think that they're going to care about? I mean, I don't want to make this super political. I know that you're not so much about politics as about advocating for small business, but I forgive my going off on this.
No, that's
okay. That's
okay.
edge tax credits. Also, the last time we talked, you were developing a health insurance co-op here in Illinois for small business people. Tell me how that's going.
Fantastically, actually. I mean, this is a perfect example of small businesses coming together, demanding a product that can compete with the 4 large insurance companies that have been dominating the market and raising our insurance premiums for the past 10 years. We were able to get legislation passed. Not we, a whole community of small business owners came together. We said we need this. Legislation was passed, and now we have a cooperative in Illinois, and that is a nonprofit insurance company owned by small business owners, operated by our advocates, no shareholders. You know what? Let's take all the intellectual capital that's going to run this thing and put it into stabilizing rates and to providing quality care. And you know what? It's free market, so people who like the free market, hey, just let us compete, right? Health insurance shouldn't be divvied up between 4 large insurance companies, so we can compete. And I'm very, very excited about it. And the SBAC is going to have a private exchange as well for businesses, for our business owners, so people can get in, shop, and see some real good benefits that can help small businesses.
I so wish we had something like that in the D.C. area. We're seeing a big increase in our health insurance rates coming up for our little business.
Yeah, and I think co-ops are, that's power of critical mass. And, the shame of it, Tom, is that only 25 states got funded for co-ops because during the fiscal cliff debate, they cut the funding last year. Illinois was actually the last state to get funded for a co-op. Amazing. So I think every state should have them. There needs to be competition in the insurance industry with people who are truly dedicated to trying to lessen insurance rates. It's the only way we can compete.
Elliot Richardson, he is the CEO of the Small Business Advocacy Council here in Illinois, SBACIL.org. Check it out. Elliot, thanks for being with us.
Tom, thank you so much for having me on.